A short reflection for the Sunday after the Ascension Day. St. John chapter 17, verses 18 and 19. As you, Father, have sent me into the world, so I have sent them into the world. And for their sakes I sanctified myself, so that they also may be sanctified in truth. The world is a place of tension and of antagonism to the writer of the Gospel of John. There is a deep and a visceral standoff between the children of the light and the children of the darkness. Now you may wonder why this is. After all, we are conditioned to think of Christianity as being nice, as being accommodating, as being well behaved, as being positive, and being in no way confrontational. In St. John, the relationship of light and darkness is quite violent, and it weaves its way through situations and relationships as the gospel unfolds. It seems to me that the engine room of this interplay of tensions and antagonisms is probably an early version of what we today call materialism, and in its day it was called Gnosticism. For this reason, in a world that is our world, which is awash with materialism, these issues are scarcely conceivable, let alone comprehensible. We all love materialism, so what on earth is the problem? St. John's Gospel, in spite of its antiquity, is a real help to a material generation in finding its way forward, not least, for example, through the sea of options online during the lockdown. Options for everything, and more than ever, the options that were there before. The conversation directly between the Son and the Father has an immediacy, an urgency, and an intimacy that draws us in today as it drew in the very first disciples. Once again, during this season of Easter, we find that a gospel account of something happening before the crucifixion is just as useful and just as relevant after the resurrection. Jesus is in this story, sending the disciples out as they will be sent out by the Spirit after the resurrection. But even more important, just as he himself had been sent out into this hostile world by the Father. Their experience and our experience combine and come together in this rare and this beautiful prayer, which forms St. John 17. There is nothing like it in the whole of Holy Scripture. The prayer is addressed to the Father, while at the same time it is for the followers. Jesus is connecting God the Father and the disciples then as now, now as then. Very few want to be followers these days, and maybe indeed it was ever thus. Everybody wants to be a leader. Almost nobody wants to be told what ought to be done or what needs to be done. Combating the evil of the world, an evil which in fact never leaves the world, combating that evil requires followership in many ways, more than it requires leadership. The humility of service is its integrity and its dynamic. It is constantly in tension with the celebrity of leadership. Let us remember that in the original context, the Good Shepherd is someone who lays down his life for the sheep. This is not a photo shoot. As the Son of Man still is sent today, so the Son still suffers today, in us and in others particularly, those who are misused and those who are persecuted. There is an exciting new transition happening. This extended prayer is tending towards unity, pushing us all towards unity. It is a unity not only within God, but also a unity between God and the disciples, and indeed a unity between God and that world. Because let us never forget that the world, although it is depicted as evil, the world is created by God, and the world is recreated by God. This is the purpose of the suffering and of the rising of Jesus. It is Ascension that takes us to the next stage, the reunification, the bringing back together of Father, Son, and Spirit, three persons who never ceased to cooperate and to collaborate. Three persons who now set you and me free in the Spirit to do the work of God in the world. Now that's a rather lovely invitation, isn't it?